NUG နဲ့အကြမ်းဖက်အဖွဲ့အစည်းတွေ၎င်းတို့ကိုပံ့ပိုးနေတဲ့ EU အဖွဲ့အစည်းတွေကိုပြပြသားသားရေးယူဆောင်ရွက်သွားမှာဖြစ်ကြောင်းပြောကြားလိုတယ်
Since the coup, the Burmese military has been attacking resistant forces in many areas of the country. This includes airstrikes, which are increasingly targeting civilians. Impact of the military action has been documented despite the risks. One photojournalist who has documented the impact is Noi from Karenni Voice. She spent 2 years living with the Karenni people.
The very first airstrikes I've been in Karenni was like 2 years ago, and they target on hospitals. They were targeted on hospitals, and yeah, at that time I can see that they came in with two airplanes, 2 jet fighters, and yeah, but they missed the target, but people died. When we were living in Karenni, and yeah, as soon as we heard some sounds of wind of airplane, yeah, we have to carefully listen, and we distinguish like, okay, is it a scout plane or is it a jet fighter, or yeah, it is just a transport airplane like that, you know. Even local people can differentiate that.
Since the coup, there has been 812 airstrikes documented in 552 locations across the country, according to the Armed Conflict Location and Event Data Project, or ACLED. The total number of documented fatalities caused by airstrikes is 659. Of these, 80%, thus 525 people, were civilian. Analysts point out that airstrikes are not an effective tactic against the lightly armed and highly mobile resistant forces fighting the military.
Air power is being used more as a psychological tactic, as a terror tactic, to intimidate populations and to punish those who are associated with resistance forces. And, you know, in a way then, attacking large civilian targets, creating civilian carnage, committing atrocities is part of the point. They want to instill fear.
The number of airstrikes has been increasing steadily since the coup. The worst attack in terms of fatalities was an airstrike that happened in April this year in Baziji village in Sakai region. According to ACLED, more than 200 people were killed. The regime targeted the village hall, where hundreds of people had gathered to celebrate the opening of a civilian administration office. The village was no longer under state control. The entire population was there, including old people and children. The regime claimed that they had targeted the storage facility of the Gambalu People's Defense Force.
We've obviously seen a small number of really horrific atrocities with very large death tolls that you mentioned. But airstrikes are in their hundreds already this year alone. And so, you know, the typical airstrike is not the one, you know, which terribly kills large numbers of civilians. The typical airstrike is one that has, you know, a smaller death toll, destroys infrastructure, kills a number of people, and doesn't get reported, you know, outside of Myanmar reporting channels very much.
One of the organizations documenting airstrikes and other attacks on civilians is Myanmar Witness. They use geolocation and other tools to analyze and verify the details.
When we do investigation, we try to answer the 5 questions of who, what, when, where, and why. So one of them is the perpetrator that we try to identify. We have collected and archived a lot of airstrikes incidents, and we have found that the types of aircrafts used are usually from Russia and China.
One state that has suffered a big increase in airstrikes is Karenni, the smallest state in Myanmar. Myanmar Witness documented airstrikes in June and July this year.
The airstrikes in Karenni caused a lot of damage and destruction to the civilian homes, and also there is a loss of life. In particular, there was a 10-year-old and an 11-year-old that were reported to have been killed by these airstrikes. The airstrikes also seem to have damaged the IDP camps that lies along Karenni and Thai border.
These drone pictures released by Karenni Nationality Defense Force capture the damage from the one attack in March. After 2 days of heavy airstrikes, more than 100 houses were destroyed. The number of casualties are not known.
These airstrikes, they don't choose like the target. They bomb like everywhere. The SAC are bombing like school, SAC bombing hospital, SAC bombing the IDP camps and local residents, the villages. So they don't target to the warfare like. So they target to the, let's say they target to the people. They're trying to kill the people because they know like our revolution is like depend on the peoples. Our revolution rely on the peoples.
In the winter and summer, they are like, we have to face artillery fires and airstrikes almost every day at this time. And yeah, people are really afraid of that, and we have to rely on some Telegram channels, enemy air route. They inform every day, like every minute, if like, oh, okay, jet plane has gone from Daegu to the southeast. If southeast, that's Karenni. We have to check this always. We have to keep notifications on. If we had the wind sound, we move near the bomb shelter, no matter is it transport airplane or scout or jet. Yeah, that's we took cautions about it really seriously. And yeah, and it is really serious because people died.
As well as the impact on civilians, there's also geopolitical consequences.
One of the challenges of operating high-speed jet military aircraft in somewhere that's very small, like Karenni, is that in 2 seconds you've overflown the territory. In some cases, straying into Thai airspace may be the only way to attack some of these areas. Although the Myanmar regime has claimed that this was accidental incursions, it may well be that they took a gamble and decided that they were going to do that. Thailand is obviously not happy about these incursions, but Thailand has not made, at least in public, the kind of fuss that you would expect of a sovereign state whose airspace has been violated in that way.
Those fighting the regime are appealing for the international community to pay more attention to what's happening in Myanmar.
So right now, SAC are bombing to the IDP camps, like they're killing, like including children. Like people are dying here, not only in Gaza, not only in Israel, not only in Ukraine. Here is the same thing is happening. We are fighting for our self-determination. We are fighting for the democracy. We are doing the same struggle, but don't forget to us. We want like your support. We need your support.